Hey everybody, welcome back to the Droopy Town Network. I have another unboxing and hands-on video today, and we're going to be checking out the Canon EOS M mirrorless interchangeable lens camera. This camera has been discounted quite a bit this summer due to poor sales, and I got in on one of those many discounts. So I have this kit right here. It comes with the EOS M body with an 18 to 55 IS STM lens, and this is the native kit lens, so it is EF-M mount, not to be confused with the EFS version of this lens. And this kit also comes with a Speedlite 90EX flash, since the EOS M doesn't come with a pop-up flash. So on the box here we do have a picture of the lens mounted onto the camera body, but for the flash you'll have to look here, and you can see everything disassembled. So this is a mirrorless camera, so no mirror, we see directly the sensor right here. Of course I'll show you the real thing as soon as I get to the unboxing. On this side we do have contents of the box, which we will go over individually. On the back we do have system requirements for the software that this camera uses. So the camera in and of itself doesn't require a computer to operate, but if you do want to look at raw images or something using Canon software, you may have to pay attention to these system requirements. Alright, so let's dig in. First thing we see here are the manuals. So these are the manuals in various languages for the EOS M. This was purchased from a non-authorized dealer, so they probably sourced this kit from a different market, and I believe this may have been intended for the Latin American market since the main manual is in Spanish. And what's funny is the first one we see here is French, so wherever this box was intended for, English is probably on the low rung in that society. Alright, so first layer are pretty much all the goodies. We got the camera body, the flash, the lens here, but we'll talk about these individually after I go through the other accessories. So these are standard accessories that usually come with Canon cameras. First thing is the USB cable. So this USB cable is used for transferring images to your computer if you don't have a card reader, and also for firmware updates, which we'll talk a little bit about later. We have a Canon camera strap here. Looks like any other Canon camera strap, but it is thinner. So it's only about an inch thick as opposed to the DSLR straps. Those are thicker. So that's that. We do have a battery charger here. This is a world charger. Supports 100 to 240 volts. And provided that your adapter is physically compatible to wherever you're traveling, this can be a very versatile charger. And it has a flip out connector, which is very nice. I prefer this to the charger for the Rebel TXI cameras. Those have a separate power cable that attaches to the charger, and I hate that, so this is nice. We have the battery here, and this is an LPE12 battery, which is shared between the EOS M camera and the Rebel SL1. So this is also used on that new low-end Canon DSLR that's very small. And the criticism about this battery is that its capacity is fairly low. It's only 875 milliamp hours, and the back says it's only 6.5 watt hours, I believe. Yeah, 6.3 watt hours, so even worse. So battery charge is not very great on this. If you do use this camera a lot, if you plan on using this camera a lot, you may want to get one or maybe even two spares. Alright, now to the good stuff. First we have the 90EX Speedlite flash, and it's very small. This is not by any means an advanced flash. It's merely just to stand in for the fact that the EOS M doesn't have a built-in one. So as you can see, it's very small, and you can't even adjust the bulb on this for bounce flash capability. This is just a mount on top of it, and its range probably isn't that impressive either. It does take two AA batteries here, and the hot shoe mount is actually plastic, so very low end. Now, one interesting thing I read online is that this is a very affordable flash to use for triggering purposes. So this isn't completely, worthless in its capabilities. You could use it in that fashion. Otherwise, this is just a very bare bones flash. It does come with a carrying case. This is a nice little fuzzy pouch here to protect it against scratches or blemishes. So nice of Canon to include something like this. Usually they skimp on accessories. We have the lens right here, 18 to 55 IS STM EF-M lens. that's kind of a mouthful, but basically the idea is that this is distinct from the 18-55 for DSLRs, and you can tell just by looking at it too, it's a lot smaller. It's got a 52mm filter thread and a center pinch cap on the front, so that's Canon's new pinch cap design here, which means that if you had a hood, you could you can still take off a cap, but no hood is included. And build quality wise, it's very solid. I like it. It's metal, and it's not like plastic. Even the mount is metal. A lot of Canon's low-end EFS lenses are made of plastic entirely, even the mount. So this is very nice, and the rings are very smooth, very well damped. It's almost like an L lens, which is crazy to say because the EOS M is not supposed to be a high-end camera line. So this is very nice here. I'm really liking the smooth movement of the zoom ring. And because this is an STM lens, it's got internal focusing, and also the focus ring is not mechanically coupled to the focusing mechanism. So it's focused by wire. This lens has to be attached to the camera, and the camera has to be on in order for focusing to happen. And there's no switch on this lens, no stabilizer switch, no focusing option switch. So if you want to change focusing options, you got to do it in the menu of the camera, which some people may or may not like. So just take that into consideration. Stabilization, I'm going to assume, is always on. So that's the lens. Finally, feature presentation is the camera itself. So this camera body is going to be in this little soft cloth pouch here to prevent scratching. And it's about an inch thick, and it's fairly small. It feels like a point and shoot camera, but of course there's no lens mounted on here, so it seems deceptively small. On the back we have a 3.0 inch LCD, 1020p dot resolution, so that's very cool. It is a touchscreen, and you can tell that Canon really wants you to use the touchscreen because there's not a lot of dedicated controls back here. We got a ring, or I guess a dial here, but it's only one dial, not two, so for those of you who like to shoot in manual mode, you still can only adjust aperture or shutter one at a time. There's some dedicated functions here: exposure lock, exposure comp, this is the delete button, and timer plus what is this, continuous shooting. So basically there's not a lot of dedicated controls here. No white balance, no no picture styles. All these things need to be done through the menu system or the touchscreen. So touchscreen is pretty much mandatory on this camera, I would have to say, unless you're okay with slow operation. We do have a nice little indent here for your thumb, and this grip right here, it's not molded, it's just a piece of plastic glued onto here. So it's not like the NEX cameras where you have a nice molded grip, beefy grip for your hand. You kind of just have to grab onto it like this, and it's okay. I mean, it's not, you know, horrible. It's usable and won't just fall out of your hand, but it's not as nice as a molded grip from Sony. On the top we do have a dial here for 3 modes: video, stills, and total auto for shooting stills. And if you want to get to aperture priority, shutter priority, manual, again, back to the touchscreen. There's no extra dial for that like there are on the DSLRs. So that, again, is something that people may not be happy about. On the top we do have 2 stereo microphones and a hot shoe. No pop-up flash. That's very disappointing in my opinion from Canon. If Sony can squeeze a hot shoe and a pop-up flash and an electronic viewfinder on their NEX6, which actually costs the same as this MSRP, there's no reason why this can't at least have a pop-up flash here. So without that, it's fairly disappointing. Canon not making the best use of the space on the top here. On the front we do have the focus assist lamp since there's no flash, and on the bottom, tripod mount, card slot and battery slot in the same area. And also, it's made in Japan. So a lot of low-end Canon cameras are now made in Taiwan, including this lens actually. This lens is made in Taiwan, but the camera body is made in Japan, for those of you who do care. Alright guys, so I'm going to mount the lens onto the body here and turn it on, show you guys what it looks like. So the camera body itself seems fairly small, which it is. But as soon as you mount the lens on there, then it's not as small as you once thought. Of course, this is the larger 18-55 lens. The 22mm STM would be about this thick. So at that point, it'd still be fairly portable and perhaps even pocketable. But at this point, not so much. But it's still way smaller than a DSLR with a comparable lens. Alright, so I'm going to put in the battery here along with the memory card, and we'll turn this sucker on. Okay, so first we're in creative auto mode. Remember, there's only 3 options here with this dial. So to actually get to P mode, AV, whatever, actually I have to go through here. So let's see. Yeah, so using the touchscreen, it's fairly intuitive, but it's not as fast as having dedicated controls. So right now I'm in program mode, and I'm going to take off the cap here. So you can see the LCD screen is very nice, and you know, if I'm forced to use the LCD screen to compose, then it better be good, right? Let's check out the version here. Now, a lot of it has been made, and here it is, 1.0.6. So a lot has been made of the firmware version on the EOS M, because the new firmware 2.0.2 greatly improves focus capability. So I want to show you guys the difference between the two. I will update this camera as soon as I can. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and update the firmware here. The procedure for it is fairly simple. You just download the firmware file from Canon's website, load it onto your SD card, and once you pop that card into your camera, you just select the firmware update option in the menus. So it's going to look like this, and it loads the file from your card, and as soon as that's done, you're going to be asked to confirm or at least start the update. So confirm that, and there you go. The progress bar will fill up. Takes about a few minutes. It's not instantaneous, so make sure your battery is fully charged before attempting this. And once it's done, it's going to show you a finished screen like that. Press OK. Now I'm going to go double check to make sure that the firmware has been updated to 2.0.2. So I'm just going to go back to the menu system. The original firmware is 1.0.6. So with the new firmware update comes focusing improvements and bug fixes. So let's put the focusing part of it to test. So on the left hand side, we're going to have the original version, and on the right hand side we have the firmware update. And from initial impressions, it does seem that the firmware update does help focusing a lot. Now this is not a scientific test, but this is sort of a stress test. It's indoors, low lighting, at night. So it does seem, just from this little test right here, that the focusing is indeed improved. Alright guys, that's it for this unboxing and hands-on video of this Canon EOS M mirrorless interchangeable lens camera. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please click that like button and subscribe to the Droopy Town Network for future unboxing videos. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.